Okay. So the intention today is to record the key points of the day, because we have more apologies for absence than we have actual members of the team able to attend. And just to frame the day, I'm going to say a little bit about the changes that we've been putting in place within SKY over the past couple of years, which have come to a point now, particularly with the publication of the updated website this month, as pretty much complete, and the input from the extended team now, most pertinently as to whether the new direction is one that they want to travel with us or not, is particularly important. So in terms of clarification of what we have done, looking back, I think it's probably useful to reflect on where we came from. I used to live on a boat, and I was fond of thinking that when you're at sea, if there's no stars, you don't know where you are, but if you look back, you can see a line of bubbles in the water, and you can see where you came from, which is a fairly good projection to where you're going to. Certainly if it's in a reasonably straight line. So what SKY has become derives from more than just yoga, although one can say that yoga is everything. Derives from more than Kundalini, or one can say that Kundalini is the energy of transformation of everything. And for me, this process probably began when I encountered the word Kundalini, which was about the time that I encountered Judy, and then when I was looking for yoga specifically, I encountered Guru Dharam, who was teaching Kundalini Yoga, and we collaborated on creating a training program in 95-96, which was created by Yogi Bhajan, and we offered it in the UK, and that became SKY, the School of Kundalini Yoga. It's just one program, but it became another, and so that progressed quite happily over a number of years until it had grown to the point where it had people that wouldn't go away and kept coming back, and we weren't just doing one course in one country. We had people asking us for courses in a variety of countries, and at that time it became I for International School of Kundalini Yoga, SKY, and we created a website called isky.net. But since that point, the net part of it has probably become more significant, because those people have become a grouping that identifies themselves with SKY. But it's probably not quite clear what SKY is, because for many people it's a school of Kundalini Yoga, and yet in our heads yoga is a very wide term, Kundalini is a very wide term, and we are defining ourselves outside of that tight original boundary of a training course as created by Yogi Bhajan, as licensed by KRI. And it's only this year, I think, that we've put anything down as a statement on a website about things that we've implicitly understood for years. And that statement now stands, and if you haven't visited the updated website, please do, and have a look through and see what's there. What we're going to try to do today is talk about the particularly the notion of or the concept or the service of spiritual guidance, because in identifying what SKY is, it then follows that there are a number of people involved with it, and if you're involved with something in some way, you represent it, and we now have an awareness that we are being represented by people who we have no means of monitoring, or we were being represented by people that we had limited means of monitoring. And so this has been a concern that we've sought to address. Structurally, within SKY, I won't list them all now, but we've said in the past, if anyone wants to work with us, then we're very happy to work with them in whatever way. And coined a phrase, the pending pool, for people that were kind of hanging out and would like to be involved, but it wasn't quite clear in what way. Now we've redefined that using the term an aid. An SKY aid is someone who is helping in a specific way. So if you like, these are volunteers, but there's a direct commitment to assist in some specific way, and so everyone knows what the area of involvement they're in is. So rather than just say, oh yes, I'd like to help, that there's a specific area of help, and there's a means to progress, that there is an outcome in some sense. We still have trainers in various forms, people learning to be teacher trainers. We're still delivering all of the KRI programs licensed by Yogi Bhajan, but we're also beginning to deliver things that aren't. So Kundalini Yoga therapy training, for example, is the creation of Guru Dharam, and we're looking to include within our program things which yes, have a relationship to yoga, because yoga is a very broad term. Yes, have a relationship to Kundalini, because Kundalini is the energy of transformation, but without a specific connection to Yogi Bhajan, to KRI, to 3HO. And that clarification, I think, is particularly important at this time, because people who came through with us in the 90s, we were delivering the same core program that we deliver now, but the context was very different in the 90s to or in the late 90s to what it is now in 2013. So that's, I think, my framing of how we come to be here today, and I'm not quite sure what that leads to, but it leads to something that will be said by Guru Dharam.
So, welcome everybody. Nice to see you all. Thank you for coming. For me, the last couple of years have been very much about the process of rebirthing. Darryl's outlined something of the structural changes that SKY has gone through, and the events, if you like, that have led up to where we find ourselves today are very much summed up by this absolute transformation of the entity of SKY. You all know that in Kundalini there is no initiation, or rather there is self-initiation, and one of the features of the last year or so has been a kind of collective soul searching amongst ourselves and our associates of whether they wish to continue to associate with us and whether we wish to continue to associate with them, and to, as it were, place professional protocols and processes so that these decisions can be, if you like, framed in absolutely professional context on either side. Yogi Bhajan said, when he started teaching over here in '69, that it wouldn't be until the age of Aquarius that people would really understand the nature of Kundalini Yoga, and that it would take until this time for, if you like, us to really understand our place within that narrative. And so for me, the getting to this point is very much about SKY establishing its identity, its spiritual identity, and defining in a very real way who is on board with us. And this is a very important process and decision. The spiritual path is many things. It's tough and it's challenging. It's a noble cause and a noble effort. And many people are called to it, or think they're called to it, and find that it's something very different to what they had thought or fantasized or projected. And so for me, the new structure of SKY is really forged in the crucible of deep meditation, deep spiritual practice, and a very nuts and bolts decision by each person who's here today, and each person who will be viewing these presentations, concerning their role in the new consciousness movement. The new structure, with the three of us as directors, with our spiritual supervision process put, as it were, absolutely centre stage for anybody and everybody who wants to be a part of the, if you like, SKY delivery service, is exciting and is just as it should be. Whatever we've been doing over the last 15 years or so, 20 years, has, if you like, moved towards this coalescence, this crystallization, towards this new structure which will enable all of us and people who are associated with us to really move forward with new consciousness in a way that absolutely provides for, if not all, most eventualities in a very real way, in a very practical way, in a very nuts and bolts form. So for me, the vibe here today is very contained, very familial, very relaxed, as in a kind of post-birth. And so I'm delighted to welcome the new SKY and all of you as part of it, and I'm looking forward to really moving forward and getting on with the job with all of you. So